Right, we'll jump into things. Number one, something I've been doing a lot recently is I've been really feeling my emotions, and I've been wondering if it helps me recover quicker or slower because there's sort of pretty good evidence about how if you think about negative things, you're going to be negative. If you think positive, you're going to be positive despite how you feel. So I'm wondering, like if I'm feeling tired, is it better to like accept and really feel and let that emotion flow through me? Or is it better to just think positive and think opposite of how I'm feeling at the time? But I have a feeling that's probably a bit of both. The answer has always been a bit of both, where you want to feel how you feel and then sort of attack it with gratitude. Be grateful that, like, hey, like, yes, I feel tired right now. Yes, it's been a long day. Yes, I feel a bit down. Yes, tomorrow is going to be very hectic, but I'm grateful that I'm able to work in my room. I'm grateful for this beautiful, clear day. I'm beautiful. I'm grateful for this medium that allows me to chat and communicate. That was number one. I have like 34 things. I don't know if we'll get through all 34, but yeah. Next. Two, something that I've been working on over the last 2 weeks is I've been spending, I wrote down, spend years earning your stripes, making others look good, and it'll come back 10x. So I remember when I was working in a startup in San Francisco, I was an intern. Like my goal was to support the boss's vision, make sure that he looked good, make sure he got the credit. Like I did what I could do to sort of make sure that he won. Um, and I'm still doing that today, where I have a lot of older friends, and I want to focus on having them, giving them wins, like making sure that they're winning, and sort of I have this solid faith that if I spend my time doing that while I'm young, it's going to come back around 10x. Like, how can I expect future me that comes to me as, say, like a sidekick or an intern? Like, how can I expect him to focus on making me look good and focus on supporting my vision and my goals if I haven't done that for others? And I think if I spend the next 5 years, 3 years, 2 years on top of the 7 years already on just focusing on helping other people get wins, it's going to subconsciously go into my personality and persona where when I attract the little me, him or her, but he's gonna feel that it's right for him to support my vision and help me. Now, number three, being okay with falling behind and getting hit with late penalties. Like as an entrepreneur, there isn't really any real deadlines. But for some reason, I set these deadlines for myself. But if I miss a deadline, let's say a client might get angry and they might leave and I lose some money. Or I now am behind on the daily posting that I'm doing on my Instagram. Like all of these penalties, it's better to just relax, have fun, and not force myself and push myself too hard to meet these penalties. For example, my editors, I have some editors, and there's a bunch of edits that they're waiting for me to review. I can either go out of my way when I'm in a mood, when I'm not in a mood to review these edits and force myself to review them just because I want them to get feedback so they can apply critiques 2 or 3 days earlier so there's more productivity. Or I can just let it go, forego that productivity that I'm missing out on, forego that opportunity cost, and just sort of live life. I think it's probably a bit of both, but I need to definitely embrace more of like, hey, it's gonna be okay if I'm late. Like nothing's gonna burn down. Save my energy for when things are truly big, real fires that need to be put out today, right now. Number four, what did I write down? You will always clear the high pressure need to get things done eventually as they build. Oh, following on point three, if I'm just chill with things and like letting them flow and letting them stack up, letting them get late or behind, getting to a message a bit late, pressure is going to build up. Pressure is going to build up where it will become important. And I'll naturally feel that. So if I let 10 things ride out of the 10 things, probably three things would actually build up where it's like, damn, okay, I need to get this thing done now. And then the other seven would have been able to cruise and there wouldn't have been any consequences. So by sort of letting things run out, it would sort of really let you know what are the important things that you actually needed to get done and what are the remaining things that by not doing things would have worked out. So Ed, I was just sort of sharing how I have this sort of tendency to just sort of get everything that needs to be done. And I sort of set these like fake deadlines on myself. And I was sort of sharing how with these, say, 10 things, if I didn't set those fake deadlines and I just sort of let them run out, the three things that were actually truly things I needed to get done would normally bubble up and the pressure would build up. Well, I'll get those three things done, and the other seven would free up that mental space to do other more important things. Um, I don't, yeah, I don't, there wasn't enough context maybe, but that was
That's just
point
like
number four.
sounds like task management kind of thing, eh?
Yeah. And sort of being okay with letting things run out and being okay with late penalties, whether it's letting someone down because they wanted a response quicker, or getting hit with a late fee, or having a customer be now more annoyed. Being okay with the penalties.
Yeah, it's definitely the case a lot of times.
Mm. Number five. Um, what do I write down? When I get flaked on me or doesn't like me. Oh, okay, cool. Something I've been realizing is that if someone flakes on me, or if someone I find out someone doesn't like me, I'm sort of thinking of like a girl, all of a sudden that person becomes really like less attractive. Like that idolization, that pedestal disappears. Like when I find out a girl is not into me, or she like flaked on me, or she said no to an invite, I think I healthily like it's I've healthily gotten into a place where it instantly removes that idolization. Um, yeah, it was just a random thought I had.
Yeah, don't give energy to anyone that doesn't give energy to you.
Yeah, yeah. Number six, um, people that people that respect me tend to value the same things that I value, or tends to value the things that matter. I don't know why I wrote this down 2 weeks ago, but I guess it's sort of like the thing of like, don't worry about the people that don't respect you because they probably don't have the same values that you do. Um, so like, don't trip, and it's a good thing.
Yep.
Number seven, my newfound theory about making sure other people win first, and I'll be able to use every other. Okay. Number seven is I've been trying this thing where I've been focusing on helping others and making sure other people win and sort of being there for others, but using that strong why as a catalyst so that every time I'm on my own I'm making sure I'm giving myself as much self-love as possible with the thought of like, hey, this is the only chance I have for self-love because there's a good chance someone's going to reach out to me and I want to be present for that person when that time comes. So on this afternoon walk where no one else is pinging me, I really need to fill my cup up now because I don't know what's yet to come. It's sort of like it reminds me of like you I was watching One Piece and the main character is like he eats whenever he gets the opportunity to eat, he eats as much as he can because he doesn't know when the next chance to eat will come. It's sort of that similar mindset.
Mm.
Um, Number 8, I want to get more okay with feeling down, being okay with feeling down. Um, because it's going to continue to happen. It's going to be out of your control. Just like if you go to the gym, your muscles are going to be sore. There's not much you can do to like prevent that. So all you can do is embrace it and be okay with it.
Yep.
Number 9 was the dynamic of sharing. Actually, I don't know why I wrote. Okay, the dynamic of sharing, bouncing ideas back and forth, listening slash asking. Hmm. I can't really remember what I wrote, but the 3 things: sharing, bouncing ideas back and forth, listening, and asking. So I guess there's three dynamics. Dynamic number 1 is sort of where you're just sharing things that are on your mind, and the other person is just, I guess, listening and taking it in. There's dynamic number 2 where you're sort of bouncing ideas back and forth between two people. And I guess dynamic number 3, which probably mirrors number 1, is sort of being the listener and sort of asking. I sort of think as I'm sort of talking out loud that you want to have a balance of all 3. So if I sort of spend a lot of time listening and asking, and if I spend a lot of time bouncing ideas with people, create a medium like this where I'm able to just share because that sort of happens much less and sort of having an equal amount of those 3 different dynamics because if they're not equal, the imbalance definitely will come up, whether it's through stress, annoyance, confusion, depression, like having a balance of these 3 dynamics, I feel like it's sort of healthy. I don't know what the consequences of not having a balance of 3 of these things are, but yeah.
Where did you write all these numbers of thoughts?
Um, these thoughts probably came maybe 2 weeks ago. Um, yeah, and I've been writing these thoughts throughout the last 2 weeks. I think if we go to points 30 to 34, they'll probably be more recent thoughts, but point 1 to 29 are just old thoughts that has stacked up because I couldn't get through them all on the last session.
Mm. Very cool.
Uh, Number 10. Let's see, what did I write? If someone doesn't like me or like someone else more than me, it ain't a right fit and they're missing out on you. Okay. Uh, I guess I wrote something about don't trip if someone doesn't like you or if they prefer someone else over you because it wasn't a right fit and it's fine. Like they're missing out on you. Okay. So I guess it's sort of like a self-confidence type comment where like if someone doesn't vibe with me and they like someone over me, one, it isn't a right fit. Two, I sort of know who I am as a person. I know what I bring to the table, and they're the one that's missing out. And three, sort of, I'd want to be with someone that has 2020 vision and can see me for who I am. So when things don't match up, don't trip. It's the universe doing its thing and filtering things. Number 11. I've been last like 2 weeks ago, I was like getting a lot of losses. I was getting a constant barrage of L's. And I sort of was like, hey, I want to focus on helping others get W's and wins because that's something that I feel like I can control. And I guess this is something that I remember telling you about, Ed, and I talked about it with my friend Nick. But that's something I want to sort of put more intention behind, focus on helping others get wins. Um, yeah. Number 12. By the way, feel free. I'll pause after each one of these points. So if you have any 2 cents or thoughts, I'd love for you to chime in. Um, but I'll keep going. Yeah. I'll pause after each one, Ed, because I definitely would love for you to chime in. And if there's no pause, I'll just go to the next point.
Yeah, yeah.
Number
I just recognize you going through these thoughts, and I don't know, the advice you're giving out right now seems like, yeah, quite healthy. So I was like, not gonna add anything to it.
Thank you. Number 12. What did I write? I think thinking of people like that when I wake up each morning to run and think of how hard they were. It's like, oh, okay. So number 12, I remember I was like realizing I was like, man, like it's so cool, like someone like you, Ed, that you can wake up early each morning, do a morning run. Like if you go to the Bondi on an early morning, like it's like pretty like I have huge respect for people that wake up early, go to the gym, go on a 10K run because that's hard. Like I don't want to wake up at 5 a.m. But then I realized that I'm waking up each day and I'm working on my own business and going through my own business is sort of like war. Um, and I was like, huh, I have my own form of others people's sort of morning 10 kilometer run. And my medium is just running a business, which is probably just as hard, if not harder. And I should sort of give myself that prop. So that was number 12. Number 13 was very similar to number 11, where it's like, if you make sure your boys are fed, they'll make sure you're fed. I think that's something like I also realized, like from like the camping trip we did, Ed, where everyone sort of just was looking out for each other. Like everyone took turns where it's like making the fire or cooking dinner or sort of just cleaning up. You know, if you sort of make sure that you're looking after everyone else is going to look after you. It becomes this communal thing. Number 14. Very similar to number 7, where every second I've spare is saved for recovery so that I can be there for others, filling my cup to the max. I think that has been a really good intention setting where every second I have, I want to recharge, give myself as much self-love as possible so that I can be there for others. Having the so I can be there for others really, really motivates me to recharge myself with every spare second I have, and it motivates me to not jump on my phone and scroll through Instagram because I'm like, hey, like if I scroll through Instagram, I'm going to be less charged for when something comes my way and I need to be there for that person. So that was number 14. Um, Number 15. When I was younger, I would always take on a ton of rejection. Like I realized when I was younger, like I would just get rejected. Like it would take me multiple rejections to get the point. Whether it came to friends, it would take me multiple rejections to realize, okay, this person doesn't want to be friends with me. Or it'll take me multiple realizations to be like, okay, this person is like bullying me. So I should stop trying to be their friend. Or if a girl, it'll take me multiple rejections with the girl to then realize that she was just kindly letting me down and that she wasn't into me. And I realized that this actually has become a strength because that's what it's like to be an entrepreneur in business, whether it's getting my podcast, getting customers, it's constantly getting rejections and pushing through. Like when I get someone reply to my podcast request with like, hey, sorry, I'm busy at the moment, that's the start of the negotiation. Like I'm actually thrilled when I get a no because that's when I start following up. Like getting a no is actually a win for me. And I realized that thanks to my childhood and high school and adolescence, that that gave me a solid foundation for the mindset I take into business and entrepreneurship. Number 16. Banks don't want to lend money to people that need money. People don't want to hang out with people that really want to hang out. It's sort of like an opposite type thing where like girls don't like would be less attracted to a guy that really wants that girl. So I sort of wrote like getting to a place of not needing. When you get to a place of not needing, things naturally come around. Um, yeah. And it's interesting because I had a conversation with a friend literally before this where she was talking about like if you don't ask, people will not know. So if you want help or if you need something, you should ask. But I guess this contradicts that. This is talking about, hey, like get to a point of not needing and things will come around. I do think it's probably a bit of both where it's healthy to ask and share what you're looking for and what you need. But at the same time, really try to get to a point of self-sufficiency where you don't need anything and the things that you would have asked for would naturally land on your lap, ironically. So that's number 16. Number 17. If I had a job. Oh, this is something I learned from Ed, where he brought light to me that there's a good chance that if I had a job and I was working 9 to 5 and I was meeting people all day, that there's a good chance that the craving I have for interaction, for communication would be much, much less. But I'm also realizing that I probably do have a larger capacity for interaction, for communication. So it's probably a mix of both, where like one, I think I'm born with a bigger capacity and need for interaction, but at the same time that like I'm not meeting people day to day. So that makes things hard. So it's like a good realization. Number 18. Let's see, I wrote down, I want to show up even better for others. I really focus on, very similar to the previous points I made. Like I really, really want to show up better for other people. Like I want to better myself so that when people reach out, I'm the best version of Andy I can be. So as a result, I really, really focus on self-love and healing with every single second and time I have on my own. Number 19. I want to learn and relearn how to sit on the toilet without my phone. Like it's crazy. Like I go to the toilet and I bring my phone along and I start swiping and it's like it's a very unhealthily trained thing. I do it when I have dinner as well. So I want to sort of relearn going to the toilet without needing to jump on my phone. It's that like I guess it's basically me learning how to embrace boredom, how to sit with my own thoughts. I think that's something me and a ton of people in our world are definitely losing. The ability to sit with yourself and sit with your own thoughts. So that was number 19. Um, number 20. I realize that when I give compliments, I give a lot of compliments, I give a lot of gratitude, that it sort of gives me dopamine. But I also realized it's sort of me low-key escaping a bit of pain, escaping pain for that little bit. So like if I sort of catch up with a friend and I'm a bit down, I naturally would start that call with just giving a bunch of compliments, making sure they feel loved, they feel heard. And it's sort of a bit of dopamine spike for me, and I escape that pain for a little bit. Um, so I guess what I've been doing with that thought and that learning is that I've been getting better at sort of sitting in silence. Like if I'm down and out, I'm not gonna engage and create a fun conversation to cut the tension or cut the awkwardness when I'm down. Like if I'm down, I'm just gonna be in silent. And if that friend has a question, I'd love to chat about myself and answer what they have to ask. But I'm no longer going out of my way when I'm hurt to cut the tension or cut the awkwardness. And I rather sit in it and rest and recover. So that was number 20. Number 21. Right, boredom seems a bit painful and sad. Is it possible to be bored in the same setting if I was in a good place? Most likely not. Boredom is just making pain. Okay, very interesting. Yeah, I had a thought where like, if you're in a really grateful and good place, you could just sit down on your couch and really have fun and enjoy the music that's playing in the background and not be bored. But when you're in pain, in that same scenario, I'd have this major urge to just go on TikTok, scroll through Instagram Reels. I'm realizing that boredom comes along with when you're in pain, and boredom acts as an excuse to distract yourself from that pain. So I guess when I'm feeling bored, don't normalize it and jump on my phone and start scrolling, but use it as a catalyst to be like, okay, what is this pain or uncomfort that I'm currently feeling with currently that's urging me to distract myself on Instagram? I think that's the healthier approach that I want to start doing more and more of. So that's point 21. Number 22. Good close friends act as an unbiased mirror, allowing yourself to see yourself clearly. Friends that are not that close, you want to definitely take what they say with a grain of salt. But close friends act as a solid mirror. So, like, let's say a friend was giving me a critique that I didn't agree with, and I sort of was a bit frustrated. He basically mirrored my frustration and my insecurities and my lack of confidence in whatever he critiqued me in. And I think, but then I guess this is something I've been doing more and more of, not only with close friends, but if someone does something that makes me feel a certain way, rather than put it on them, think internally and think, okay, why is what they're saying making me feel that way? Like, why am I getting frustrated about that comment? And see where the frustration comes from. And I feel like that has been a really healthy approach. And this approach works really, really well with close friends, because friends, they just want the best for you. So if they're saying something that hurts your feeling, then it's truly a reflective mirror. Yeah, so that was point 22. 23. 3 years ago, me and my friends would overthink our happiness and feelings. things that work. I'm a much better place. But I think overthinking even more, trying to, okay. Interesting. 3 years ago, the thoughts I would have, friends would comment and say, dude, like, you're overthinking things. You know, I'll be thinking about feelings, friendship dynamics, happiness, purpose. And they're like, dude, you're overthinking things. 3 years later, they're now saying and repeating very similar thoughts that I had 3 years prior. And it's funny because now I'm saying things that, you know, I still get the same comments because I'm always 3 years ahead, it feels like, with certain friends. And then what's the second point? Well,
Want to play devil's advocate on that one?
please.
Have you recorded yourself saying those things? And then play it now.
Have I done what?
So you said 3 years ago, you said certain things to your friends who are now saying them now. I'm saying, did you record yourself 3 years ago saying those things? Are they exactly word for word in terms of the meanings? Or do you think it's possible that there's some alignment? Maybe you said a whole bunch of things, and then maybe 2 out of the 10 things, or 5 out of the 10 things have now come true. And then you simply went through the confirmation bias.
Yeah. So
I'm curious. I don't know.
I haven't recorded it, so I might be wrong. I might be looking back at things with a biased view or biased lens, or I might be interpreting things not correctly. So no, I didn't sort of do the recording, so I can't be for sure. So there's
Maybe you want to record stuff now, and then see yourself in 3 years' time. Just thinking.
Okay, that's a good
I
point.
guess you're saying you're recording this now, so that in the future Andy can go, hey, look, I said this, I had this thought, back in 2023, 2024.
Yeah. Let me think. Let me try to think of something. Yeah, of something that I recently said that wasn't sort of maybe understood or sort of came off as a bit crazy. Let me think of our chats recently. Okay. I think the current chapter that I've been going through is I have this here. I haven't even solidified it myself. Like I don't even know what it is, but I remember like a week ago we were talking about sort of me trying to find that tribe, that community, or me somehow thinking that I might have to age down and find a group of friends that were my age or younger. Like I'm sort of in this sort of confused, unsure social state. And from the outside, say you or people like Reese or Anthony might be like, dude, like you're tripping, like you're fine, like you have a lot of like friends and things are working out, and like we are friends type vibe. And I wouldn't be surprised if in 3 years' time that you guys might also go through that phase. And we'll be talking about it, and hopefully by then I would work through it, and I would be able to sort of smile a bit and be like, I know exactly how you feel. I've been through that. Yeah, so that might be an example. So I guess we'll put
What phase? I'm still not sure what to come out, what phase is really fun, what phase.
Yeah. It's sort of the phase of me trying to figure out my friends. It's weird. It's this weird, confusing place where I have friends. I have our satellite friends. I do have a group forming. Like all this confusion, that's the phase. Like this confused phase of like, where do I sit? Like yeah, where do I sit? Like I'm even confused about
What do you mean, where do you sit? Where do you sit where?
pardon?
What do you mean, where do you sit? I still don't know what you're talking about.
I'm struggling to explain it because I'm sort of confused
Yeah.
on how I feel there as well. And I think
It's I'm
that
trying to get you to be specific because it sounds very vague and it's to the point where you can almost apply it in this broad sense of I don't know where I am. And then like where do you know where you are in terms of planet, where you are in terms of life, where you said I don't know where I am in terms of friends. I'm like, where are you in terms of the
perfect.
order you sit in your friend's mind, or where are you sitting in terms of yourself amongst the relationship you have? Where are you in terms of like you haven't really specified what you're talking about, and so it sounds so vague right now. I still don't know what you're talking about.
Let me rephrase. I'll take another angle. There's a possibility that in 2027, Ed, you reach out to me and you're like, man, like all my friends, they're getting married, they're having kids, like I don't know where I sit. Like I'm still, I haven't gotten a kid yet. I've got into a new relationship. Like I have all these friends that care for me, I hang out with you, but like I don't know, like I don't know what I'm craving, but like I want that group. I want that circle. Like man, like I know like I have like, we do have a group forming, but like man, like I want something of my own. Like I wouldn't be surprised if in 2027 you come to me with a confused thought like that. And by then I would have totally understand where you're coming from and been through it. Right now I haven't been through it, so I'm still just as confused as 2027 Ed is in that scenario. And that maybe hopefully narrowed it a bit more.
I'm going through that now, so I'm not sure. I'm sure I won't be. I'm sure it'll be slightly different. I guess what you're saying is from that, I've gathered that people just go through it over and over again in different iterations. From transition of high school, like their high school friends to uni friends, where they question their high school friends as opposed to uni friends, and then from uni friends to workplace and their lifelong friends that they come across. Yeah, I think this question has been solved as well, by the way. I feel like the podcast with like Chris Williamson had said that the example he had was the friends he thought he had were just friends he had when he was in that context of drinking and partying, and these guys kept reaching out with him, and like they're always concerned of where he's coming to these clubs or not, whatnot. And then he said a true friend is one that you can just sit in a room with just you and him.
I think
And yeah.
maybe 3 years ago, let's say, okay, let me try to think. I was 22, it was 2021, so this is during COVID. Okay, so if I jump back to then, I was in a place of satellite friends. I was still hanging out with some, reconnecting with high school friends. I had a friend that I was consistently doing the podcast with. So I had all these consistent things in my life, and this confusion wasn't there. This urge, this yearn wasn't there. Like I had things already. I was part of things. I was organizing. I was invited to things. I had many different friends. I was very broad, and and all that confusion, that yearn wasn't there yet. Um, and maybe I don't know if current Ed can relate to 2021 Andy, because maybe I'm reading it wrong, but from my lens, you're at a really good spot, and you have a few different groups. You are consistently sort of a part of things. There is no need or yearn to form something new. You're pretty socially fulfilled, and it's not even top of mind. Like the things I would bring up is like not even like understandable. Like it's you're sort of like you're like in a good spot like that. The confusion I'm saying is not even there at all. It's like sort of me in 2021.
Yeah. So I think there's two things I yearn. One is a relationship that helps me grow career-wise or business, financial-wise. You can get that at work through my manager, which is okay. It's okay. But there's a yearning of more, because I still have the energy for it. So I'm pretty clear on that one. And then there's yearning of family. I feel like my family has gone smaller because of the percentage of proportionally, because obviously there wasn't that many people in the first place. Went from 4 to 3, So that's a quarter, 25%, which feels significant. So I think there's a yearning of closer family connection, especially during special occasions, special events. Like unfortunately, like during Chinese, those Lunar New Year's, you're just gonna spend time with your family. Like Mother's Day, you're not gonna spend Mother's Day with your friends, like celebrating with their mum. You're gonna spend time with your mum. And then that leads to yearning for a close romantic relationship, I guess, because that could lead to family relationships. So yeah, I think you're right. I do have friends that scratch all the other itches.
On the same topic, what would your counter prediction be for 2027 Ed? On that same topic, what would your counter prediction be? So we can use
2027 is 3 years time. Oh, okay. I think by then, I think my sister will have a like I can only control the
Oh, Ed, better. To keep things constant, how would 2027 Ed come to me? You'll come to me and you could be positive, negative, you could be sharing all the things that are working well, all the things that you're learning. Role play what you would be telling me in 2027 as I role played my prediction.
So I've just given you what I think is what I'm yearning for. I don't know about the circle that you talked about. This circle, I think the circle you yearn for, Andy, is from what I've gathered, is very broad.
I'm more confused. I'm like more confused. Like I might not even yearn for a new circle. I might not like right now I have no urge for a group of friends that are my age. Like that was, but then I'm constantly confused and I'm spinning.
You're constantly looking
I'm
for
confused.
well, we've spoken about the fact that you admire. I don't know if you actually want it, but it's thinking maybe have an experience or you feel like it'll be a cool experience to have, the show friends where a bunch of guys and girls they hang with each other all the time. It's like they just talk about random things that they happen on the day or they go through life together. You could go to groups that it seems like you're in something like that. But then there's a side of me where I can see that you also want, the alpha masculine money making group of guys that you want to hang with because like, you wanna I can see that in you, and that's probably the influence on social media such as Andrew Tate, Iman Gadzhi, right? Yeah, and you can say maybe not, maybe a little bit, maybe 10%, maybe like less than that. I don't know.
Can we switch the mics on the AirPod?
How about now?
Try the other one.
Is it better now or no?
Oh, way better, way better, way better.
Yeah, you just have to speak louder.
Way better.
Yeah, I'll just say you have to speak louder. That's all.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
So yeah, I think I can see that because like I just see myself having something similar as well. as in I can see it in me and I feel like that's sometimes like what you may or may want because like like right now you're going through like this, you're looking for your tribe, you're looking for your circle. You don't really get along with the people that's your age because you think that's what you should be doing. But then you half think that I feel like you do get along with, guys my age, but you just haven't really sat in it yet or get comfortable in it yet because you're just we joke around like we joke about your age, but then again we're also acknowledging that you're very young and very mature. And I've always said that, guys your age aren't that self-aware or aren't doing crazy things. And even if you are my age, if Andy, you told me you're 32 and you're doing what you're doing, I still don't know how to put you in the box as well. So there's an age factor that makes it that exacerbates what you're already going through, and hence hard to find people that you connect with because I think there's also the fact that you spend so much time on your business, and it's not like you.
Hold that thought. I need to quickly use the restroom. Hold the thought. All right, I'm back.
I think I'm just saying out loud what I think it is. I am not today. I'm not curious and asking you specifically like I normally do because I think I'm starting to find the patterns that you talk to, like the self-talk that you have with yourself. So today I'm just like straight up what I think. Because usually I'm asking you and then try to like dig deeper. But I'm finding this pattern that you have, and I kind of want to share my thoughts and feelings, and then you can then differentiate yourself afterwards, and then let it sit and let it mellow. But yeah, I think you're lost because you don't see anyone else do what you do, and you have to really accept the fact that like, we hear so much content about the fact that 1 in 10 try to start something, 1 in 10 of that start something actually make it past the first year. So then you're already 1 out of 100, and then the fact that you spend so much time on your business, like 99% of us are in the 9 to 5, and that takes up like 90% of our waking hours. If you think about it, most people go, "Hey, what do you get up today?" and people complain about the work. That's the go-to conversation, you know. So, and then then people go, "Oh, what do you do?" You know, and then they talk about work. Whereas you do business, right? So then there's not that a lot of people haven't even thought about what starting a business means because deep down everyone wants to do that, or they think they admire that, or they put that on a pedestal, or whatever it is, you know. Then there's people that fucking hate business owners and people that make, so there's so many characters, but all those characters have a common thing where they do 9 to 5, you know? So I think it's like very hard for you to relate to people. So, and then also you spend so much time in your business, I don't hear you do any other sports. Like people connect, like I now go to the gym, I can go to classes and I can connect with people through the gym, right? So I'm just trying to think, like Andy, where else other than like if you want that go-to tribe, I think that's what like from my observation, I see Mitch and Rushi, they go to the same class every week. They can talk to those people over and over again. Yeah, and then I think it's just the social side of things. Yeah, unfortunately, maybe yeah. I mean, actually, it's amazing from what I see. Is that it's amazing your friends have reached for this whole time. It's just that I can see that there is a level of separation. Like even he admitted that if he invited you to his group of mates, his mates wouldn't be able to get along with you, right? But I think that was more of an easy path for him to say that. I think like it will be true now, but maybe back then, I guess just Sydney behavior, Sydney people just have gatekeep their friends and stuff like that in the social group, which we've already talked about this already as well. So taking bits and pieces of these concepts that we talked about and then applying in this context. And so I'm trying to validate that you feel lost is like totally normal. And the struggle you're gonna go through is like, it makes so much sense. And it's because like you've just chosen these paths. And then like it's always like you've chosen this path and you just go, hey, it's like I chose to run a marathon, but I don't know why like my legs hurt. It's kind of like that. Yeah. You have to speak louder, bro.
I think right now, the reason why a lot of my friends are struggling to help me, and it's always happened, like people have always struggled. It happened year on year, because I feel like my problems have always been 2 or 3 years ahead. So for example, let's say me 3 years ago, I came to you, Ed, in 2021, and I was like, Ed, man, like I'm making all this money. I don't know what to invest it in. Like I'm having to pay a lot of tax. I'm not happy. I'm not fulfilled. I thought having all this would clear my problems. Like I'm not enjoying selling a course. I hate doing this, creating ecom content every day on YouTube. Like I'll be sharing all these things. And I think you 3 years ago would find it hard to give me the advice, the right advice. But current you that might be going through the exact current thing, there'll be a huge amount of relatability. And you in 1 year would be able to give 21, 22-year-old Andy the perfect advice because you've then gone through it.
I mean, if you're just comparing against me, I'm like what 7, 8 years older, so you're 7, 8, 9 years, ahead if that's the case. And then if you compare your peers, then you're probably 10, 15 years. I don't know. Is it helpful to compare? Like, why are you comparing is the question?
I was using an example. I wasn't comparing. I was just trying to say that right now, the confused state I'm going through, I feel like right now all my friends are trying to help, but they probably can't understand what I'm feeling. And there's a good chance in 2, 3 years' time, they'll go through this same phase that I'm going through. And hopefully
not everyone's doing the entrepreneurial route that you're going through. Or are you talking about like just the maturity that you're going through? What aspect of it are you saying that you're going through that people can relate in 3 years' time?
for example, with Reese, 3 years ago, like I'd come to him with problems of like, man, like I just came back from this trip to a certain country. Like, man, it was so fun. I'm meeting so many people. Like, man, like I don't know if what I'm doing for work is what I want to do, man. Because like work is like it's just I don't know, it's just a means to an end at this point. And back then, Reese like couldn't relate. He was like, man, like I think you're overthinking things. Like, don't trip, like you're doing fine. And now 3 years later, he's at that exact phase. He recently traveled. He's recently solo traveled, went to an international country on his own, met a ton of people, and he's gone through the exact same thing that I was really confused about 3 years ago. And it has nothing to do with comparing years ahead. It's just a realization that I'm coming to understand. And the point of this,
So you're saying, okay, I see you. I hear what you mean. As in, you're going through something now, and it's a problem that people can't not help you. But then maybe within the next 3 years, there's a chance that they'll eventually hit that problem as well, or they'll come across a similar problem, and then by then you would have moved on. Hopefully, I sort of get what you mean. I sort of get it. I sort of get it.
and then the main point was, thanks to all that work, thanks to all this overthinking, I was able to get to that next state, that better place. And I'm still at that overthinking. I'm overthinking things even more, trying to get to that next chapter and that next state. And
I feel like oh yeah, keep going.
and sort of the awareness of what I'm going through and this realization, this point is like, oh wow, okay, like now I understand why people like I understand why people can't, and I'm struggling to share what I'm going through because I'm going through it. I'm hurt and I don't know what I'm hurt, or what's where the hurt's coming from. And all my friends are trying to help, but it's not fixing the pain. And and they're telling me like, dude, you're overthinking it, chill, don't worry about it. Um, so that's happening, and this thought has cleared a lot of that cloud. Now I sort of see things a bit more clearly, and I can work through this pain um, with um, less bandages.
Sort of get it. It's like it's almost like you're also saying whatever problem you're going through, it takes you 3 years to get there.
And I might be wrong. I think you put me in the spot and was like, "Hey, let's do a prediction now." And I just thought of what came to my mind. So you really put me in the spot to come up with this. I might be wrong, but
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
very
I
on
feel like
spot.
you don't even need like that's what I mean. I don't think you need friends to do what you just said. It's like you just said you have a problem that you're going through, and then maybe your friend in 3 years' time realize that oh, Andy went through that problem 3 years ago, and maybe let me ask him about that. And then in saying so, it's almost like saying it takes you 3 years to get over a problem. Like we're removing your friends from realizing it. If you had no friends and you're going through this problem right now, and you're talking to the video, your camera, and you're saying, I have this problem, I don't know how to get through it, blah, 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 blah. And then in 3 years' time, you watch back this video, you're like, oh, yeah, I've already gone through it already. It took me 3 years to go through it.
Yeah.
Does it make sense? It's
Yeah.
almost the same thing. Right now, you're saying, oh, your friends realized something 3 years later. It's kind of like me telling you, Andy, if you don't right now have these back problems and I don't know why, and then 3 years later, I say, oh, Andy, my back problem is gone now because like, oh, I realized it's just my hip section is tight, you know? And then back maybe in 3 years' time, yeah, or maybe not 3 years' time. When you hit 30, you'll go, oh, Ed, yeah, my back hurts for no reason. And then I'll go, Andy, it's because most likely the hip flexor is the problem.
Yeah.
Is that similar or not really? That's what I feel like that's what you're saying now.
The main point of this was being okay and understanding why friends might be telling me that I'm overthinking, and seeing that they're intentionally trying to help, but it's not really working and they're not hitting the dot. And that was the intention of this point of me unpacking what's happening there.
Okay. So yeah, as in you're saying that your friends don't know what you're going through right now, and all they're saying is don't trip, don't overthink, and almost like dismiss what you're going through. That's what you're feeling.
And that thanks to past Andy, who pushed through, who didn't take the advice, and I kept thinking about things, I kept working on it. I'm so grateful that past Andy kept working through those things and got to the next level. And that I'm now going to accept that, hey, like a lot of the confused things that I'm struggling to understand, people are going to definitely tell me I'm overthinking. And that's what I've been told my whole life. But it actually means I'm on the right track and it's okay. Versus, hey, maybe I am crazy and maybe I am overthinking things. Maybe this person is right. Let me take a step backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like you've you've clarified your thinking now. So if you were to now rephrase this whole last half an hour, can you re-say it? Can you try and rephrase it?
Thank you, Ed. That's a good prompt. If I constantly look back over the last 5 years, every single difficult chapter I went through, and I shared it with my friends, at that time, they told me that I was overthinking things, that I'm in a good spot, I shouldn't worry, I couldn't trip. And they basically was unable, it was well intentioned, but it didn't help me. And I continued to overthink things. I continued to work through it. I'm glad I did. And I now see that usually people who stay in my life, they're also growing. So I see them go through the exact same things that I was coming to them 3 years prior. And that was just sort of like confirming the hypothesis. It had nothing to do with comparing me being 3 years ahead or people being 3 years behind. It was just confirming the hypothesis of, okay, maybe they don't understand because they haven't gone through it. And it's okay for them to tell me that I'm overthinking things. But now, as I'm listening to myself, I'm definitely butchering this re-explanation, Ed. I'm doing a bad job at this
I
re-explanation.
think it's better than the first time round. That's all. It just
Thank
sounds
you.
much better than your first time round.
Thank you.
It wasn't clarified.
Thank you. Thank you.
I feel like you're just going through the age-old problem with if you were to summarize that in 2 sentences, because you're still going through a paragraph. So how would you say in 2 sentences?
How to say it? Okay. If I'm being told I'm overthinking it, I'm going in the right direction and keep thinking.
I think if I were to word it for you, I'll be like, Andy, it's okay to be misunderstood and not heard when you reach out for help, because in due time you'll work it out yourself.
Love that. Yeah, that's good.
Does that summarize it, or does that resonate, or not really?
That does a really good job. You helped me bring up a new point. I realized that I was a bit hurt when I don't feel heard, and that catalyzed me trying to think about this point because it doesn't feel good to not be heard, and I now understand that on the path I've chose, there's a good chance that my peers wouldn't be able to understand what I'm going through. And as a result, it gives me this strength. Like when someone like my mentor Tony says, hey, like whenever I'm sad, I just, I find happiness at the bottom of a bottle of whiskey. The fact that he's way ahead of me, I don't take that for a grain of salt. I don't brush that off. And I might not understand what he means now, but I wouldn't be surprised that when I turn 35, 40, him saying that crazy comment totally makes sense then. So I'm not gonna sort of make him feel unseen or like
It might just be his way of saying, don't overthink, just drink your worries away.
like that's
You know what I mean? Sometimes I feel like it's like the thing is so fucking vague that it's open to interpretation, and then like just then I just gave my own interpretation, and then hence like there's a fucking like confirmation bias towards it.
I feel like in due time, I'm gonna totally understand what he truly meant by that. Right now, I don't, but because because it happens to me all the time. Um, I know that in due time, I'll probably truly understand what he meant by that.
Yeah.
Number 24.
Sorry.
But okay. Let's see. Number 24. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm just beat up. Okay. Number 24. I remember talking to a friend, and he was basically helping me figure out my why. And in the end, it looked like I was like down and out, and I'm depressed and stuff, or I'm not happy. But I realized that dude, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm just beat up. I'm like 11 kilometers into this marathon. I'm hurt. I want to give up, but I'm like a quarter way through this marathon. I just got to keep going. And it's funny that I put this down because I'm literally a quarter through this century of my life. And you know, I'm just like 11 kilometers into a marathon. Of course, you're gonna be beat up and hurt and sore. Obviously, this is maybe Ed, if you run 11 kilometers in, you're fine. But like for me, like of course, you know, I'm gonna feel like sad and negative, but I just gotta keep going and I can't stop. So that was number 24. Number 25, and we'll probably wrap it up at 25. Oh, embrace being the organizer versus being invited to things. What did I mean when I wrote this? I guess being the organizer can be fun but stressful. And I want to embrace that and sort of like being the organizer, like there's so many pros and there's so many cons, but I want to embrace all the pros and the cons because being invited to things is also pretty good and pretty fun. But like, I definitely rather be or want to work and grow and continue being the organizer despite all the cons. Can't really remember why I wrote point 25, but yeah.
No comment on that one.
So yeah, that was the 25 points for this Monday. I think I had another 9 points, but I'll save that for next week. Usually I would do this on a Sunday, so I guess I'm sort of like a day and a half behind, which is okay. But yeah, I really enjoyed this session. I really had fun that you joined along, Ed. It was really, really good. I'm starting to figure out a format that I enjoy for these sessions. And yeah, I feel really good.
Noise. I think all these thoughts are building blocks. There are a lot of wisdom in some of them, and eventually I'm sure there are recurring themes as well. Like these wisdom that you have are recurring things, and I think it's only a matter of how you word it and how you tell it that makes a better impact or is better communicated. I mean, because I was like, I assume you're doing all this is for future generations or future you to look back on, or is this a practice? You know, Andy Mai, President of Australia, 2050. You know, he's getting interviewed. I don't know. Australia's not a president yet, but if we do, I'm sure you'll be elected. How old will you be when it's 2050?
I guess 51.
Nah, still too young. Still too young. I know you achieve a lot when you're at young age, but let's just Andy Mai 2090.
Yes.
2090. Like in Donald Trump's age or something like that.
Yeah. Like I don't know if there's like initially I did this for myself and it was sort of a bit of therapy. This is quite therapeutic because like I guess for you, Ed, you've seen me in many, many different scenarios. When in what scenario do I get a chance to be this version of me? Where I sort of just feel like
I think it's cool because like no one actually write down their thoughts like you. Oh, okay, fucking Alex Emojis and the greats, they tweet all these thoughts that they have. I guess yeah, you write down these thoughts, but you haven't really explored into detail, like unpacked it. And I guess this format is great because you're recording yourself, so you're more self-aware. You're saying it out loud, so then you have to really unravel your thoughts and call upon the thing that you want to say as top of mind.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Yeah. Because I was just trying to think like,
But you're posting them, so that's why I go, well, clearly there's a level of you wanting to show it for external, like there's a level of external influence that you're trying to make by posting them. I mean, why else would you post it, right? So if you post them, I just see it as, oh, well, if that's the case, then maybe you're just practicing on telling these, unraveling these thoughts, unpacking these wisdom, and eventually you can distill even better, like say a sentence that's so densely packed in wisdom that you can actually write a fucking paragraph or go for a 3 hour podcast on it.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's definitely good practice for communication. It's a great way to connect with people. Like I'm connecting with you today. For the last three calls, I've had three different people join in and it was three really fruitful sort of conversations. It's a great medium to swing people that are serious about sort of spending time with me. It's like, hey, if you want to chat, just jump on these. I'm able to kill two birds with one stone, create content. Um, Another reason is like my podcast doesn't, the flip side.
It's only you interviewing other people, but not really you sharing your own thoughts.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. As much as you're right about the podcast having a lot of value, it has a lot of other people's value and a lot of me like maybe asking valuable questions, but it doesn't really build any sort of Andy Mai social credit, I guess. Um, and I guess I also like it feel like I like doing episode one, two, three, four, and then in 2 years' time be at episode 100. That's satisfying. So I think all those reasons combined is sort of why I'm doing this. And I guess time capsuling, yes, big reason. Get a sort of time capsule Andy's thoughts. I realize this is a way more higher quality time capsule than a tweet. I've complete also another reason, condensing all my thoughts, tweets, and everything into one medium. This now I don't have to spend time opening up my phone, putting down a thought on Twitter. I save it for this. Yeah, and then I guess it also allows friends to see another side of me with friends that do join, because usually friends only experience a version of Andy that asks them questions and bounce ideas on what they're going through. They never see a completely different side of me. So I guess like those 10 reasons is why I like this.
Great. I'm glad. I'm glad you found a medium that you
You're
enjoy.
the catalyst, Ed. You're the catalyst. I did not forget. You are the catalyst for lesson.
You took action. I think this is ideas. You took action. It's all you, man. I'm just glad to just be an observer, a fan. I'm a fan right now. Oh, actually, I'm not a fan because I get to interact with you. Because I think a fan is just a one-way street, right?
You're part of it. You're part of
Thank you, thank you. Small part. 1%. If you do thousands of podcasts and I'm only in two of them, it's like 0.2%. So, you know. But I like this medium because I can join in like this while I'm working out.
Yeah, and I like the non-pressure. Like I remember last week, some guy I connected with 2 weeks earlier. I wasn't too sure if he was serious or what, but he just showed up. And then a week before that, Nat randomly just showed up. So it's like really cool. I love the spontaneity and the randomness and like, and if I'm on my own, that's fine too. So it's like it's a fun sort of gamble. It's like scrolling. People scroll to get that next random interesting video. I join these and there could be like a curveball to the conversation based on a random person that decided to join.
Yeah. Are you gonna continue recording or
Let me I'll stop the recording now. Bye bye, and I'll stop recording.